Hello everypony, I am Critical Thought and welcome to my review of My Little Pony Equestria Girls. This was Hasbro's very first attempt at a theatrically released My Little Pony film since 1986 with My Little Pony the movie. 27 years later, with the success of Friendship is Magic going strong, they decided to give it another try and brought us Equestria Girls. Hasbro Studios knew that if this movie were to stay afloat with its limited release, they would need the team that made Friendship is Magic so successful in the first place. They enlisted the help of many of the show's staff, including Jason Thiessen as the director, Daniel Ingram and Will Anderson as the composers, and Megan McCarthy providing the story. All of the original voice cast from the show, including Tara Strong, Ashley Ball, Andrea Libman, Tabitha St. Germain, Kathy Westluck, and even Rebecca Shoiche, were also brought on to aid with the project. And on June 16, 2013, the film was finally released in select theaters for a limited run. Will Hasbro Studios finally break the 27-year-long curse of MLP movies, or will Equestria Girls join its G1 ancestor as another failed attempt to bring ponies to the big screen? Let's find out. Our story begins with the main six arriving in the Crystal Empire for the upcoming Princess Summit, which will be a first-time experience for the newly crowned Princess Twilight Sparkle. I love how Pinkie Pie makes the Transformers sound effect when she stands up. It may be subliminal advertising, but at least it's subliminal advertising that makes sense within the context of the movie. Okay, before we get too far into this, we need to discuss this guy. If Snips and Snails are my least favorite characters in the MLP universe, Flash Sentry is up there at number 2. Many bronies were quick to point out how horrible of a match he was for Twi in this movie, and they aren't wrong about that, from a storytelling standpoint. But from a marketing standpoint, they're like peanut butter and jelly. Flash Sentry is to Twilight what Ken is to Barbie, an afterthought purely created to make more money. Hasbro executives have shamelessly admitted in the past that Flash was specifically designed to complement Twilight Sparkle on screen. That's why his color scheme looked so good next to Twilight. It was meant to. Also, the stereotypical jock heartthrob is just an archetype that little girls latch onto, and that means more money for Hasbro. I think it's important to recognize that Flash is merely an insurance character for Hasbro to lean on, play it safe with, and recoup some of the money spent to make this film via toy sales of him. He was also created for the little girls specifically, and not for any other demographic of fans. I know that he's caused quite a stir among people who view Twilight Sparkle as their waifu, and if you want to see my thoughts on waifudom, you can click the annotation on screen or the link in the description to check out my Inside Critical's cranium about the subject. But let me make it clear that Hasbro does not care one bit about your waifudom. They are going to do whatever will net them the most cash, and Flash Sentry was the answer. Okay, let's continue. Do the dance. Do it. Do it now. You're not doing the dance. Damn it. As Twilight is preparing for bed, she tells Spike about how she's worried about what her new princess title is going to entail for her, as she feels she is not qualified or ready to handle her new royal duties. But Spike reassures her that she will do just fine as the Princess of Friendship, and they both go to bed. Well, try to anyway. I have to say that this scene with Twilight's wings refusing to stay closed as she's trying to get comfortable is hilarious and very clever. What? What's this? The opening theme? But remixed? Sweet! This opening credits sequence is amazingly animated and definitely a beautiful sight to behold.
Do you know you're all my very best friends?
After the opening theme, we see a mysterious pony sneaking around the Crystal Castle. She enters Twilight's chambers and attempts to steal Twilight's crown, embedded with her element of harmony, and replace it with a fake crown. But she trips over Spike's tail as she's leaving and is caught red-handed. A chase ensues between the main six and the mysterious yellow unicorn, until Twilight catches up to her and tackles her, sending her crown flying and straight through a mirror portal. The unicorn frees herself from Twilight's clutches and chases after the crown through the portal. The next day, the ponies tell the other princesses what has happened, and Celestia reveals that the thief was likely Sunset Shimmer, her old apprentice before Twilight Sparkle. Celestia tells the story of how Sunset Shimmer turned cruel and dishonest when she felt like she wasn't becoming a princess fast enough, and she abandoned her studies to pursue her own path. The story of Sunset Shimmer has always fascinated me, and I'm so glad IDW explored it in their My Little Pony comics. The Fall of Sunset Shimmer is an 8-page story found in the My Little Pony 2013 annual comic that originally premiered in the 2013 San Diego Comic-Con variant of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic issue number 9. It details exactly how Sunset Shimmer fell from grace. I know that IDW has said the comics aren't canonical, but I think they should be considered canon. The comics have such a rich and expanded lore behind them that it makes the actual show look like a mere appetizer. If you want to read The Fall of Sunset Shimmer, I'll provide an annotation on screen and a link in the description to check it out. Princess Luna then shows the mirror from the previous night to Twilight. She says it is a gateway that leads to a mysterious alternate dimension, one that even the royal sisters do not know that much about. She says the gateway opens just once every 30 moons. Cadance then tells Twilight to enter the portal to retrieve her crown and her element of harmony, as the other elements won't work unless all 6 are present, and Equestria will be vulnerable without the protection of the elements. Princess Luna also adds that the inhabitants of this other world will also not be able to defend themselves from the magic of Twilight's element should it be used for evil. The main 5 ask to come along, but Celestia denies them. I have to admit that Celestia's reasoning here that having all 6 of them present will upset the balance of things is pretty weak. I mean, I know that it turns out to be fairly true in that it lets Twilight spend a good chunk of the movie's runtime making friends with the human versions of the main 6, and if Megan McCarthy made it so where the human main 6 didn't already exist, the pacing would probably be thrown off. But Celestia just said not even 4 minutes ago that she doesn't know that much about the world beyond the mirror. How could she possibly know about the human main 6, that Sunset Shimmer is at Canterlot High with the human main 5, and that human Twilight doesn't go to Canterlot High? Sure, the balance of things ends up being maintained by only Twilight going, but there is no way Celestia knew anything about that when she literally says to Twilight,
"You'll soon know more about this place than even I do."
I suppose little minor things like learning how to write or use a computer are things Celestia doesn't know, but there's also no way Celestia could have known Twi would learn those things either. I highly doubt Celestia has spent enough time in this world to know the proper balance of things. It's still theoretically possible, but I highly doubt it. Right now, this just looks like a way to take a huge chunk out of the runtime. Luna tells Twi that she has 3 days to retrieve the crown and return home before the portal closes for another 30 moons. Twilight says her goodbyes and enters the portal. And then, of course, Spike just goes running in after Twi anyway, which makes Celestia's speech about upsetting the balance of things even more absurd. It's just dumb luck that she was right about all of this. Or perhaps just the will of the screenwriter. But certainly not wisdom. Twilight opens her eyes to find that Spike has turned into a dog, and she has turned into a human, something neither of them have seen or understand. So Twilight begins freaking out at the weird and foreign thing she's turned into. Unsure of where they are, Twilight and Spike decide to search the castle, otherwise known as Canterlot High, for clues about where Twilight's crown is so they can retrieve it quickly and return back to Equestria. There's too many of these moments of Twilight failing at being a human, so I think I'm going to sum up my thoughts on all of them with this one clip. These were probably some of the best moments in the film for humor. The best part about them is that they unite both old and young audiences in the laughs. I saw this movie in the theater when it had its limited release. I think there may have only been a small handful of bronies there, and the rest of the audience was mostly filled with families. However, everyone in the audience was able to find moments like these to be funny. Bronies, parents, and children. I doubt you can tell me the last time you went to a movie primarily made for children where kids, teens, and adults were all laughing at the same jokes. That's that signature MLP quality shining through in a movie primarily made to compete with the juggernaut that is Monster High. As Twilight is trying to make heads or tails of this new world she's in, the bell rings and the hallways of Canterlot High become flooded with students. Twilight eventually makes her way out and is quickly met face to face, or more accurately face to shin, with Mr. Pandering himself, Brad, aka Flash Century. He helps her up and walks away, knowing full well that the screenwriters aren't gonna let him stay single. No siree. This leads into the first of many songs in this movie, This Strange World, detailing Twilight's struggle to fit in and figure out the rules of this weird place. Overall, this isn't the best song in the film, but it isn't the worst either. The biggest adjective that comes to mind is just average. It's enjoyable overall, though.
Sorting through the small details of the strange new world. What a strange new world.
After the musical number, Twilight stumbles upon Sunset Shimmer bullying Fluttershy into submission. She instantly confronts Sunset Shimmer to stop the bullying. This should have been a clear indicator right off the bat that she was from a foreign world. I mean, who stands up to the school bully? You can see it in that girl's face in the background. She's like, "Oh my god, what have you just done?" The guy in the background also scoots away like, "Oh sweet Jesus, I'm getting the hell out of here." Fluttershy makes that fact known when she speaks up to Twilight and tells her nobody messes with Sunset Shimmer. I know Twi is new to this whole world and everything, but if she could recognize Fluttershy in her human form, why couldn't she recognize Sunset Shimmer? It's just a minor little nitpick, but it stood out to me, so I'm making a note of it. This scene where Fluttershy introduces herself to Twilight is fantastic, because it's almost a direct parallel of how the two interacted in the series pilot when they met for the very first time. What a nice little nod to the bronies who have made this brand popular enough to warrant a movie. Fluttershy then tells Twilight that she had found the crown that Sunset was pestering her about on the ground outside. Unsure of what to do with it, she handed it in to Principal Celestia. Principal Celestia. I remember when I saw this movie that the bronies in the audience just laughed at how absurd that was. Twilight rushes to Principal Celestia's office to find out about the crown. But before she can really tell her that the crown belongs to her, the principal inquires Twilight about the upcoming fall formal dance, where she says a princess will be crowned. Twilight doesn't show interest at first, but seeing how Sunset Shimmer has won the crown every year that she's run for Princess of the Fall Formal, this motivates Twilight to run as well. Oh god! Celestia in human form looks like legs go all the way up Griffin from Family Guy!
Hey, baby, do those legs go all the way up?
Why, yes, they do.
Ah! Oh my god, you're a monster!
Come back! My legs are shaved like a little girl!
The plot thinks it can address its own holes by having Spike ask Twilight why she couldn't just ask for the crown back, and have Twilight explain that no one would believe her about the portal and how she's actually a pony, and that everything will be all good. But the plot is sadly mistaken. You want to know how this conversation should have gone? Here, I'll show you with poor graphics and bad voiceovers. Hi, Principal Celestia. My name is Twilight Sparkle. I'm new here and I heard Fluttershy found a crown and turned it into you. Ah, yes. I gave it to Vice Principal Luna for safekeeping. No idea how it got onto the front lawn. Well, you see, that crown belongs to me, and it accidentally fell out of my backpack when I was coming to school today and I didn't notice. Oh, I see. Okay, I'll have Vice Principal Luna return the crown to you at the end of the school day. Great! Thanks, Principal Celestia! This entire movie would then be unnecessary. There is absolutely no need to tell Principal Celestia anything about Equestria, the magic properties of the crown, or anything like that. But this movie needs to stall for even more time, so we're going to have that crown be part of this fall formal dance to give the movie some halfway decent pacing. The only way I can see this movie's plot making any sort of sense is if the crown Sunset Shimmer initially tried to replace with Twi's element was the crown for the fall formal, and then when Twi's crown was brought before Principal Celestia, it was mistaken for the fall formal crown. But you know why I don't believe that? Because the movie makes no attempt to explain that. It's likely the case, but when you fail to show me that it is in fact the case, what am I supposed to think? Anyways, on with the movie. So Twi enlists the help of Fluttershy at lunchtime to help her run for Fall Formal Princess.
Oh, I don't think you understand. You'd have to convince everyone here to vote for you instead of her. The athletes, the fashionistas, the dramas, the eco-kids, the techies, the rockers.
God, this high school has more cliques than most high schools. Also, the eco-kids? What, is it politically incorrect to call them hippies or something? In order to run for princess, Twi seeks out the head of the Fall Formal Planning Committee to get her name on the ballot, who turns out to be none other than Pinkie Pie. Twilight is shocked to find out when she tells Pinkie about Fluttershy that the two aren't friends. It seems to me that Megan McCarthy kinda wanted a plot that could basically be a recall to the series pilot. In fact, looking closer, this plot has more similarities to the pilot than I actually realized. But couldn't think of a way to make Twilight bring the other human main five together in the high school setting, where they likely already know each other, other than to make them start out by hating each other. I'm not complaining about it, I just feel like Miss McCarthy wrote herself into a box with this high school setting. After Twilight signs up to run for Fall Formal Princess, Applejack and Big Mac walk in delivering some cider. Applejack warns Twilight about Sunset Shimmer's backstabbing ways, and also makes it known that the only person she trusts less than Sunset Shimmer is Rainbow Dash. Not even humanizing Snips and Snails makes them likable. After Sunset Shimmer barges into the auditorium and finds out from Pinkie Pie that she's no longer running unopposed, she hunts down Twilight Sparkle and finds her in a dark hallway. Jeez, how does the school pass inspection with such faulty lighting?
Whatever. This is just a minor setback for me. You don't know the first thing about this place, and I already rule it.
If that's so, why do you even need my crown? You went to an awful lot of trouble to switch it with the one that belongs here.
Holy crap, that fake crown was the one for the coronation of the Fall Formal Princess. Too bad it took nearly 8 minutes to reveal that information. That would have been helpful to know when Twilight was back at Celestia's office. Following Sunset's little chat with Twilight, she orders Thing 1 and Thing 2 to dig up some dirt on Twilight Sparkle that she can use against her.
Excuse me. The great and powerful Trixie! Need some peanut butter crackers. Voila!
Best cameo ever! Twilight decides that she must learn all she can about this new world if she wants to win her crown back at the Fall Formal, so she locates the school library to conduct her research. Human Cheerilee looks like the type of woman who puts Captain Morgan in her travel mug every day and says, "You can do this, Cheerilee," into the bathroom mirror 5 times before going to work each day.
It's just as well, y'all. Some of the comments about our song were really awful. Epic fail. Funniest thing I've ever seen.
The human CMC discovering YouTube comments is just priceless. Hey, Inner Fanboy Critical, come here.
Hey, what's the big ruckus over here? I'm working on a Scootaloo mosaic made up of screenshots of her, and you disturb me for... Oh my god, it's Human Scootaloo! Best pony is now best human!
Yeah, thought you'd get a kick out of that. Anyways, Snips and Snails stalk Twilight around the library, taking embarrassing photos and videos of her as she tries to figure out the rules of this new world. As the library is about to close for the night, Spike reveals that he's managed to make a bed for Twi in an abandoned part of the library. Twi shows Spike a yearbook she found that has a picture that shows the human main 5 seemingly as friends, which confuses Twi even more about why they seemingly aren't friends now. After Twilight wakes up the next day, eager to begin her campaign for Princess, she gets her first reality check as to why high school sucks, when all of the students she passes in the hall start snickering at her. Twilight is quickly found by Rarity, who pulls her into a nearby room and tries to disguise her to avoid further harassment. Pinkie, AJ, and Flutters soon show up and show Twilight the embarrassing YouTube video that everyone has been laughing at her for, obviously put together by Snips, Snails, and Sunset Shimmer. Mortified, Twilight is at a loss for how to possibly recover her campaign after the video has been seen by everyone at school. AJ, Pinkie, Flutters, and Rarity start arguing about who Twilight should and shouldn't trust to help her with her campaign, until Twilight shuts them up and reminds them that they were once friends. Once the human main 4 start opening up about why they were all mad at each other, Twilight suggests that Sunset Shimmer had a hand in it, which becomes more and more apparent to them as the girls discover that the texts and emails that led to these falling outs were not authentically from the person they appeared to be sent by. Learning of this apparent backstabbing by Sunset Shimmer, AJ goes to make amends with Rainbow Dash, and Dashie reveals that Sunset Shimmer gave her false information as well that caused her and AJ to fall out as friends. After this betrayal is uncovered, she is more than happy to help Twilight dethrone Sunset alongside the other main 4, but not until Twi beats her in a game of 1v1 soccer. As you might expect, Twi loses. Badly. But it's all good in the hood. Dashie was merely testing Twi's determination and heart with her little challenge, and Dashie was proving that Twi's got it, and she agrees to help Twi take down Sunset Shimmer. But what none of them know is that Snips and Snails, along with Sunset, were spying on them the whole time, digging up more dirt to use against Twilight. After stereotypical chick flick cliche number 489, the main 5 warn Twi about falling in love with Flash Sentry, as it's revealed that he is actually Sunset Shimmer's ex-boyfriend. But of course, the screenwriter doesn't care. The screenwriter is going to make it happen regardless. AJ tells the group that they need to undo the damage that Sunset Shimmer has done to Twilight's image. So Rarity comes up with the idea of Twilight uniting all the different school cliques together as Canterlot Wonder Cults, since Sunset Shimmer was the one who divided them all in the first place. She suggests that they all wear special pony ears and tails that she had made during her freshman year for students to show their school spirit. We then jump into the next song of this movie, and by far the most well-known and popular, helping Twilight win the crown. This is definitely one of the best songs in the movie. Its beat and lyrics are infectious, to put it lightly. However, while this song is catchy and fun, the visuals have their ups and downs. It was amazing to see Vinyl Scratch without her glasses for the first time, finally putting the question of what color her eyes were to rest. But other moments like Rainbow Dash and Rarity using their feminine charm to influence the votes of the nerds is a thorn in my side, and I can't let it slide. It doesn't hurt the song itself, but it's kind of an annoying and troublesome sight for me to see. Sunset Shimmer isn't pleased with the song, however, as she sets the final phase of her plan to ruin Twilight's sparkle into motion. Later that day, she goes to Vice Principal Luna to tell her that something awful has happened. She takes Luna to the gym where it is found that the entire setup for the fall formal dance has been destroyed. She accuses Twilight Sparkle as the culprit, and when Luna questions her as to why that is, she presents her with pictures showing Twilight in the act. However, little does Sunset know, Flash Sentry is snooping just around the corner, and he is instantly suspicious. Luna calls Twilight into her office to confront her about this, and Twilight is understandably confused. Can I just say how much of a nice little touch it was to keep Luna's office darker than Celestia's, as an homage to her being the princess of the night? It's a small little detail, but I think it's fantastic that they included it. Just as Twilight is about to have her candidacy revoked, Flash Sentry comes into Luna's office and shows her that the photos were forged, presenting the original photos of Twilight with Twilight's body cut out of them to Luna. This causes Luna to reinstate Twilight's candidacy and causes Flash to get a huge boner. As incompatible as I think Flash is for Twi, I think he should be commended for his chivalry in this situation and how he stood up for Twilight's innocence. Well done, sir. Due to the damage to the gym, Luna leaves to go tell Celestia that the dance is postponed until the following night. But this causes Twi to panic, knowing that she has to get the crown tonight, or else be stuck in the human world for another 30 moons. Unsure of what to do, Spike encourages Twi to tell the truth to her friends, so they know how imperative it is that she get the crown tonight. However, she doesn't have to. Pinkie just straight up guesses it.
You're from an alternate world and you're a pony princess there, and the crown actually has a magical element embedded in it that helps power up other magical elements, and without it, they don't work anymore, and you need them to help protect your magical world. And if you don't get the crown tonight, you'll be stuck in this world, and you won't be able to get back for like a really, really long time.
I gotta say, out of all the scenes in the movie, none of them caused a bigger laugh in the theater than this one, and it's still what I would consider to be the funniest moment in the whole film. After the Human Main 5 learn the truth and are on board to help, they rush to get the gym fixed up before the dance during a new musical number called It's Time to Come Together. In my opinion, this is the weakest song in this movie. It's like it couldn't decide if it wanted to be a slow pop jam or a rock ballad. It's not horrendous, but it's certainly not one that I'm going to want to listen to over and over again. The Human Main 6, along with help from other students, managed to get the gym ready in time, and the fall formal is declared back on. However, Sunset has been secretly watching from nearby, along with Snips and Snails. She chastises the boys for trashing the place too much, saying she needs the fall formal to happen tonight just as much as Twi does. Why that's the case is beyond me, but I'll just roll with it for now. Maybe the movie will address my concerns again. The next scene is yet another musical number called This Is Our Big Night. The upbeat pop instrumental makes me want to jam to it, but the lyrics are some of the worst I've ever heard Daniel Ingram come up with. I know that all throughout the show and other EQG movies, musical numbers are seen by the staff as a way to quickly deliver boring and clunky exposition in a fun way. But the difference between every other song and this one boils down to one word: effort. I felt like there wasn't any effort put into making this one good. They just threw in a musical number for the sole purpose of delivering exposition, but didn't bother giving it nice, polished lyrics to hide the fact that it's just there to deliver exposition. It feels like Daniel Ingram was tired of songwriting at this point and just didn't care anymore. The beat is great, but I can't get that into it when the lyrics are just so bland.
This is our big night. This is our big night. This is our big night. This is our big night.
So the girls arrive in style at the fall formal nearly at the same time as Flash, who pulls up in a custom Camaro. I'm surprised that Hasbro didn't let them make the Camaro look like Bumblebee from Transformers. That would have been a nice little nod to the Transformers fans. It's even the same model as the one in the 2007 Transformers movie. Ha! That's what you get, you dirty good-for-nothing waifu thief! Hey. Hey, inner fanboy.
I just recovered from my coma that you gave me from seeing human Scootaloo. What do you...
Also, guy doing Gangnam Style in the background. Damn, Rarity. Shake it, don't break it.
Slow down, grab the wall, wiggle like you're trying to make your ass fall off. Hella thick, I wanna smash them all now. Speed up, gas pedal, gas pedal, gas pedal, gas pedal, gas pedal.
As expected by her friends, when Celestia and Luna appear on stage to crown the princess of the fall formal, Twilight wins by a landslide. Just after Twi receives her crown, Spike calls out to her for help as Snips and Snails carry him away. Twilight and the main five chase after them, until they are greeted by Sunset Shimmer at the portal to Equestria. Sunset threatens to destroy the portal if Twi and her friends attempt to rescue Spike, but then immediately gives him back to Twilight when she has Twi where she wants her. A little weird when it comes to evil plans, but okay. She gives Twi an ultimatum. Give her the crown and return to Equestria, or keep it and she will smash the portal so she can never return home. Twi refuses and stands up to Sunset Shimmer, telling her she will never get her crown, and she would sacrifice the chance to ever go back home if it meant protecting this world from harm. Personally, I'd love to read a fanfic where Twi never does return home due to Sunset Shimmer's control over this world. I wonder how her friends in Ponyville would survive never seeing her again. Something tells me it'd be a lot like that episode of Teen Titans where Starfire gets sent into the future and witnesses how all her Titan friends have driven apart. Of course, I don't know how that potential storyline would have even had a chance to exist given the current situation because, as other fans have pointed out with comedy animations, the sledgehammer would likely just fly right through the portal doing no damage to it. However, Sunset gives in and drops the sledgehammer. Twi's friends are all moved by her willingness to sacrifice everything she loved for their safety. When suddenly, catfight! After a game of keep away, Sunset finally gets her hands on the crown. She places it on her head, and then all hell breaks loose. Sunset Shimmer turns into a demon and starts hypnotizing the whole school, and reveals her true plan: to take her newly formed teenage army back to Equestria and rule it as a new princess. Twilight and her friends try to stand up to her, but Sunset isn't going down that easily, and she sends a giant fireball towards Twilight and her friends. After the smoke clears, Sunset is shocked to see that Twilight was protected by a magical aura, which is revealed to be ignited from within Twi's element due to the spirits of the other 5 elements of harmony being present within Twilight's new friends. Many fans don't like this whole concept of ponying up that gives the human main 6 their pony features, and I can see why, as it's primarily focused on being product placement for the Equestria Girls toy line. But I for one don't mind it all that much. It gives a very cheesy yet nostalgic vibe similar to Power Rangers, and I think it's pretty awesome. Twilight reveals that Sunset can't control her element of harmony without the magic of friendship, curing her army and defeating her with lightning and rainbows. Awesome! After defeating Sunset Shimmer, Twilight approaches her to find her in tears, remorseful of the pain she has caused, saying she didn't know there was another way to get respect. Twilight tells her the choice to embrace friendship or be alone is hers to make, and when Sunset says she doesn't know the first thing about friendship since all she's done in this world has driven people apart, Twilight offers Sunset her hand in friendship. I love this quote by Celestia here.
A true princess in any world leads not by forcing others to bow before her, but by inspiring others to stand with her.
I'd even go as far as to say as this may be the most important and meaningful moral MLP has ever taught. It's not super applicable to everyone, but for little girls, this is the best advice I think anyone could give them. These words hold so much power and inspiration behind them that I get a little emotional thinking about the positive impact that it could have on little girls. Girls these days get caught up in a rat race of popularity and overthrowing their peers, but I believe if more of them embraced this quote, the world would truly be a better place. After the climax of the movie, we conclude with our final musical number of the film, a reprise of This Is Our Big Night. These lyrics are a big improvement over the original version, and I can actually jam to it this time. Twilight has a tearful goodbye with her friends at the end of the dance and enters the portal to return to Equestria. When she gets back, she is treated to a warm welcome by her Ponyville friends who have many questions about the human world. After bumping into the pony version of Flash Sentry, Pinkie correctly guesses why Twilight has a crush on him, and we close out the movie with a sweeping shot of the Crystal Castle. So, what did I think of Equestria Girls? Considering all the fear surrounding this movie's release by the Brony community, and all the hoops it had to jump through to subvert our expectations, I'd say this movie did a fantastic job. With nothing but failed ventures in film for the My Little Pony brand, and a fandom in a tizzy over Twilight Sparkle becoming an alicorn princess, it was an uphill battle for Megan McCarthy to try to appease Hasbro, little girls, and bronies alike. But in the end, she arose victorious. I don't think this movie lived up to its full potential, but damn it did it deliver a surprisingly amazing experience. I loved the new character of Sunset Shimmer, and being littered with fan service for the bronies only made this movie more enjoyable for me. The plot had its holes, but the story isn't hurt that much by them. The music, while consisting of both hits and misses, is also pretty awesome, living up to the standard expected by Daniel Ingram for the show itself. And that moral. Sweet Celestia, that moral. This movie was a very risky shot in the dark for Hasbro, but by some divine miracle, they managed to hit their mark and please everyone. In the end, Equestria Girls receives a watch it once rating. It was a valiant effort by everyone involved with the project, and it paid off. The only real reasons that it didn't score higher was that it did have a few minor issues that plagued it from being the best movie that it could be, and that it isn't the best among the 3 Equestria Girls films currently out. As always, I am Critical Thought, and I will see you all in my next video. Never stop thinking critically.